We live in an age obsessed with feeling. We are told to validate every emotion, to express every discomfort, to treat our sensitivities as sacred virtues. We are encouraged to let it all out, to honor our triggers, to place our internal state at the center of the universe. But what if this constant emotional excavation, this relentless focus on our own fragility, is not making us stronger, but profoundly weaker? What if the path to true strength, to what the ancients called dollar ataraxia dollar, invincible tranquility, is not found in expressing every flicker of chaos within us, but in mastering it? What if the goal is not to be understood by the world, but to understand ourselves? The modern world has sold us a lie, that a good life is a life free of pain, free of anxiety, free of discomfort. And so we run from these things, we numb them, we distract ourselves, we pathologize them. The Stoics, however, ran on a different operating system. They understood that pain, chaos, and misfortune are not bugs in the system. They are features of reality. They are the price of admission for a human life. To seek invincibility, then, is not to seek a life where nothing can harm you. That is impossible. It is to seek a state of being where nothing externally can destroy you internally. This is not a call for repression. This is not an argument to become a cold, unfeeling stone, or to bottle up your emotions. That is the most common and laziest misunderstanding of Stoicism. The goal is not to erase emotion, it is to transcend it. It is the difference between being a slave to your impulses and being the master of your internal kingdom. The objection is always, but if I don't vent my anger, if I don't cry out my sadness, won't it consume me? The Stoic answer is simple. It only consumes you if you identify with it. It only rules you if you grant it permission. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the observer, the consciousness experiencing these things. The emotion is a wave. You are the ocean. The wave rises and falls, but the ocean remains. Emotional invincibility is the practice of building a citadel inside your own mind, a place that the chaos of the world cannot breach. It is built not with stones, but with habits. 4, to be precise. The first and most foundational habit is the dichotomy of control. This is the bedrock of all Stoic practice. It is the daily, hourly, and sometimes minute-by-minute practice of drawing a clear, unwavering line in the sand of reality. On one side of that line is everything you cannot control. This list is vast. The weather, the economy, the traffic on the freeway, the past in its entirety, the future in its entirety. The opinions, actions, and emotions of other people, even those closest to you, sickness, aging, death. On the other side of the line is the list of things you can control. This list is tragically, beautifully short. It contains only your judgments, your interpretations, your voluntary actions, your decisions, your will, and your character. The emotionally invincible person learns to waste zero energy, zero thought, zero emotional currency on the first list. Their entire focus is applied to the second. We suffer profoundly because we spend our lives desperately trying to control what we cannot. We attach our peace of mind to external outcomes. I will be happy when I get the promotion. I will be calm if they apologize. My life will be good once this problem is solved. This is outsourcing your tranquility. You are giving the keys to your internal citadel, to things outside of yourself. The psychology of the Stoic is one of radical accountability. My mind is my domain. Everything else is external and, ultimately, indifferent. This is not pessimism. It is the ultimate liberation. It frees you from the bondage of if only. When you truly internalize this, anxiety begins to dissipate. Why? Because anxiety is almost always rooted in projecting your mind into a future you cannot control, or ruminating on a past you cannot change. Fear of what might happen, regret for what did happen. By focusing only on your response to the present moment, you become immovable. Someone insults you. The insult itself is an external event, just sounds vibrating in the air. Your interpretation of those sounds as harmful or offensive is internal. It is a judgment you make. You can choose not to assent to that interpretation. You can choose to see it as mere noise, as a reflection of their character, not yours. This is the first wall of your fortress. This applies to everything. In a relationship, you cannot control your partner. You cannot make them love you, respect you, or change for you. You can only control your own actions, whether you are virtuous, whether you communicate clearly, whether you are loving, and ultimately, whether you choose to stay. In your career, you cannot control if you are laid off due to restructuring. You cannot control your boss's mood. You can only control the quality of your work, your integrity, your commitment to excellence, and your preparedness for change. The person who masters this dichotomy stops being a victim. They stop blaming the world for their feelings. They understand that nothing external can truly harm them, only their response to it can. This is the first and most critical step to invincibility. The second habit is premeditatio malorum, or the practice of negative visualization. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive habit to the modern mind, which is obsessed with positive thinking and manifesting good vibes. This is not pessimism. It is strategic preparation. It is the act of being a spiritual and psychological prepper. Every morning, the Stoic takes a few quiet moments to calmly, rationally contemplate the things that could go wrong. Not to wallow in fear, but to prepare the mind and rehearse virtue. The Stoic will sit and think, today I may lose my job. Today I might get into an accident. Today someone I trust might betray me. Today I may be faced with my own mortality. And then crucially they follow it with the premeditation of their response. And if these things happen, I will face them with courage. I will respond with patience. I will act with justice and reason. I will not be broken. The psychology behind this is brilliant. The modern mind avoids all negative thoughts. We live in a culture of good vibes only. This makes us incredibly brittle. We are emotional glass. When adversity does strike, and it always does, we shatter into 1,000 pieces because we never built a tolerance for it. We are devastated by the shock, by the surprise of it all. We cry out, this shouldn't be happening. The Stoic says, why not? Everything is happening exactly as it should. Premeditatio malorum is an emotional vaccine. You deliberately expose your mind to a small, controlled dose of imaginary misfortune. And in doing so, you build a powerful immunity to the shock of real misfortune. It strips adversity of its greatest weapon, the element of surprise. When the challenge finally arrives, the Stoic mind is not surprised, it is not panicked. It simply says, I have been preparing for this. You have already rehearsed your response. You have already decided who you will be in the face of this. You meet chaos with tranquility. But there is a second, and perhaps more beautiful, benefit to this practice. It fosters profound, deep-seated gratitude. By calmly contemplating the loss of your health, you become deeply, viscerally grateful for the health you have today. By imagining, just for a moment, the absence of your loved ones, you cherish their presence more fully, more presently, right now. By considering the loss of your home, you appreciate its simple shelter. It pulls you out of the hedonic treadmill of always wanting more and anchors you firmly in appreciation for what is. You stop taking your life for granted. You are no longer living in constant low-grade fear of what might happen. You are living in deep, active appreciation of what you have, all while being fully prepared for whatever comes. This is the robustness of the invincible mind. It does not fear the dark because it has practiced walking in it. The third habit is the most profound and the most difficult. It is amor fati, the love of one's fate. This practice moves far beyond mere acceptance. It is not just tolerating what happens. It is not gritting your teeth and enduring reality. It is embracing it. It is the active, willful practice of looking at every single event in your life, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the brutal, and saying, this is necessary. This is good. Not good in the sense of, I enjoyed this, but good in the sense of, this is a part of the pattern, and I will use it. I would not have it any other way. It is the absolute refusal to wish for things to be different. It is the rejection of regret. The psychology of this is staggering. The philosopher Nietzsche, a later thinker, deeply influenced by this concept, called it his formula for greatness in a human being. The psychology is this: the universe is a single, unfolding causal chain. Everything that is happening now is a direct result of everything that came before it. Your birth, your triumphs, your failures, your heartbreaks, they are all inextricably linked. To wish that one thing were different, to regret one missed, to resent one obstacle, to lament one tragedy, is to wish that the entire universe were different. It is, fundamentally, to deny reality. It is to declare war on what is. And that is a war you will lose, 100% of the time. Amor fati is the ultimate alignment with reality. It ceases all internal conflict. It sees obstacles not as roadblocks put in your way, but as the way itself. The obstacle is the path. The challenge is the curriculum. This is the source of true emotional invincibility. If you can genuinely love your fate, what can possibly harm you? What power does an insult have? What power does a failure have? If you adopt this mindset, a failure is no longer a failure. It is a lesson, a necessary redirection, a tempering of your character. A betrayal is no longer a personal wound. It is a profound education in human nature, a test of your own virtue. A loss is no longer a cosmic injustice. It is a redirection, a stripping away of the external to reveal the internal. You stop fighting with reality. You stop bleeding precious energy on the psychic friction of what if and if only. You become an alchemist. You are handed the lead of suffering, pain, and chaos, and you choose to transmute it into the gold of character, wisdom, and resilience. You are no longer a victim of your life story, tossed about by its winds. You are the hero who chooses it, all of it, and declares it all necessary. This is not passive. It is the most active choice you can make, to will that everything happen exactly as it does. This is the impenetrable armor of the soul. The fourth and final habit is the practice of cosmic contemplation, often called the view from above, or Plato's view. This is a mental exercise in perspective. It is the conscious act of zooming out, of detaching from the tyranny of the immediate ego. You begin by visualizing yourself. You see yourself in your room, sitting, breathing. Then you begin to zoom out. You see your home, your street, your neighborhood. You see your entire city from above, a grid of lights and moving cars. You zoom out further, seeing your country, the outlines of continents. You see the earth, a pale blue marble suspended in the blackness, silent, beautiful. You keep going. You see the moon, a distant companion. You see the sun, a blazing star, and the other planets in their silent orbits. You zoom out past your solar system, into the vast, swirling arms of the Milky Way galaxy. And then you zoom further, past billions of other galaxies, each a pinprick of light containing billions of other worlds, all floating in an ocean of silent, infinite, incomprehensible darkness. You are now looking at the totality of the cosmos. From this vantage point, you also contemplate time. You look back on the billions of years before you were born, the rise and fall of mountains, the age of dinosaurs, the entirety of human history. Then you look forward to the billions of years that will come after you are gone, when your name, your legacy, and even your species are dust. Now, from this truly cosmic perspective, think about your problem. Think about the email that made you angry. Think about the perceived insult from a coworker. Think about the stress of your deadline. Think about your anxieties for the weekend. How big do they seem now? The psychology of this practice is the radical, intentional shrinking of the ego. Your personal problems, which feel all-consuming from ground level, are revealed for what they are: microscopic, temporary, dust in the wind. This is not to say they don't feel real or painful in the moment, but it is to put them in their proper context. It detaches you from the tyranny of your own self-importance. We suffer because we believe our own small dramas are the center of the universe. The view from above, gently but firmly, reminds us that they are not. The benefit is profound tranquility. Your personal anxieties, your rage, your petty grievances, they lose their sharp, consuming edges. They are contextualized. You realize you are a tiny, temporary part of an enormous, ancient, and magnificent whole. This fosters empathy, as you see all other people as fellow travelers, each struggling with their own microscopic problems that feel just as large to them. It silences the internal noise of the ego. When you are tempted to fly into a rage over a trivial matter, the view from above whispers in your ear, "Is this truly worth your peace? In the context of the stars, what is this?" This is how you maintain an unshakable calm, a dignified perspective, even in the center of a personal storm. You are anchored not in your own ego, but in the cosmos itself. These 4 habits, the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, amor fati, and the view from above, are not intellectual curiosities. They are tools. They are a daily practice. They are the components of an internal operating system designed for resilience. The dichotomy of control gives you focus, telling you where to place your energy. Negative visualization gives you preparedness and gratitude, robbing adversity of its sting. Amor fati gives you acceptance and power, turning every obstacle into fuel. And the view from above gives you perspective, dissolving the ego in the face of the infinite. Together, they form the walls and foundations of an internal citadel that the world cannot breach. Invincibility is not a prize you win, it is a state you inhabit. It is the quiet, internal victory of reason over chaos, of character over circumstance, of the will over the whims of fate. The world will continue to throw its chaos at you. That is its nature. Your work is not to stop the storm, but to become the eye of it. The chaos is external. The calm, however, is eternal. The only question that remains is whether you will choose to build it